Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with the next review of the Terror in the Aisles challenge. This time, Jason and I watched Vice Squad. Make your move and make my day. Vice Squad is a 1982 horror film, and it's featured in Terror in the Aisles. Some might try to claim it's not a horror movie at all, and to that I'd say, here we go again. It's definitely part of the horror genre, and Jason agrees. As a matter of fact, so does Shout Factory, because they released it under their Scream Factory line. You could almost place it in the slasher genre with the way it plays out. Regardless, I don't care what anyone else thinks. Vice Squad is a horror movie. Ironically, it's even more entertaining than many of the traditional horror films in this challenge. Ultimately, it's probably one of the most entertaining movies on the entire list. It deserves way more attention than it gets, too. No one really talks about Vice Squad, other than those who have seen Terror in the Aisles. Speaking of which, this is the one I've been waiting for, guys. It's probably the movie in this challenge I've most anticipated revisiting. There are just certain movies that remind me of Terror in the Aisles more than others, and Vice Squad may be number one for me in that respect. It's not just featured in Terror in the Aisles, it's prominently featured in the compilation. It's also by far the most popular of them all that people ask about on message boards. Because of Terror in the Aisles, so many people love Vice Squad, despite not even seeing it in its entirety. It's such a sleazy, cheesy good time. Vice Squad is more or less a hooker slasher film, starring Wings Hauser as Ramrod. Ramrod is a pimp. An insanely maniacal pimp. A psychotic, murderous pimp. Ramrod is a terrifying, yet awesome villain. After murdering a prostitute named Ginger, Ramrod is pursued by the Hollywood Vice Squad, led by Detective Tom Walsh. He's eluded police before, though, so the Vice Squad brings in another prostitute named Princess to help set him up. Princess is a single mother who only turned to prostitution to support herself and her young daughter. During her time on the streets, she became close with Ginger, the dead hooker. Seeing her friend's body in the morgue encourages her to accept the opportunity to work with the Vice Squad. Of course, if she doesn't, she'll be arrested herself on a drug charge. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. The setup works, though, and Ramrod is arrested, but not before putting up a fight. Now, with the killer in custody, Tom allows Princess to walk free. The streets of Hollywood will be a little less dangerous with Ramrod off of them. Unfortunately, he won't be in custody for long. After brutally beating the two officers who have him in custody, Ramrod escapes into the night. With help from some other criminals, Ramrod breaks free of his handcuffs. Meanwhile, Tom is completely enraged with his fellow officers, realizing Princess is in danger. Unable to keep her safe, the Vice Squad heads out into the night in an attempt to recapture Ramrod. But the killer pimp is one step ahead of them in his pursuit of Princess. Ramrod wants revenge. No one sets him up and gets away with it. In his search for Princess, he'll kill any hooker and anyone else who gets in his way. The only hope the prostitute has for surviving the night is the Vice Squad. Wings Hauser as Ramrod is absolutely fucking awesome. I love his character. Of course, he's a brutal murderer, but he plays such a great lunatic. He's imposing and limitless, and there are no lines he won't cross. The hookers fear him, as they should. he'll kill them all if he has to. The cops, on the other hand, know they must be careful, because Ramrod will kill them too. There's no wonder why so many people are fascinated with the scenes of Vice Squad featured in Terror in the Isles. Wings Hauser has a domineering presence, and he's truly the highlight of the film. Even his name is cool. Ramrod. I love it. The Hollywood streets are raw and gritty. The movie was filmed on location. We do get some gratuitous nudity, although not as much as you'd expect with a plot like this. The look of the film and the dialogue is just so damn 80s. Like I said, Vice Squad is so sleazy and so cheesy and so entertaining. It all ends with a very exciting climax. I mean, with prostitutes, it's all about the climax, right? I'm sure it was for the golden shower guy in the film. Then, of course, there was the guy who likes to suck toes. Like I said, sleazy and cheesy. I guess that makes it cheesy in more ways than one, though. The movie flies by. It has an approximate runtime of an hour and 37 minutes. While watching it, it feels like maybe half that. There really isn't much to the story either. I basically told you what happens. It's the cops pursuing a killer who is pursuing a prostitute. That's it. That's the movie. Regardless, it's a blast, and I absolutely love Vice Squad. I'm so happy Scream Factory released it as this collector's edition, and I love this newly commissioned artwork. The colors really add to it. This is how the movie looks. And then, of course, you have the maniacal Ramrod with his knife, front and center. This is literally one of my favorite Scream Factory releases in my collection. Jason and I could not wait to watch Vice Squad since the start of this challenge, but we kept putting it off for the anticipation. We were both looking forward to it so much, and it was definitely worth the wait. And my relatable recommendation is Deadly Force. Wings Hauser basically followed up Vice Squad with Deadly Force, which was released a year later, in 1983. In this one, it's sort of a role reversal for him. This time, he's not the killer being pursued by the cops. He's a rogue cop pursuing a serial killer. I did consider recommending another slasher film starring Wings Hauser, The Carpenter. He plays the killer in that one too. And even though I do believe Jason will also be recommending Deadly Force, I had to as well. It just fits. This, by the way, as you can see, is my MGM Movie Time VHS release of the movie. Although not quite as much as Vice Squad, Deadly Force is filled with sleaziness and cheesiness as well. Have you seen Vice Squad? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. And please be sure to check out Jason's review. We've made our moves through this list, and we are down to the final 3 films. We'll be back soon with the next review for the Terror in the Isles Challenge. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and, be kind, subscribe.